Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to ChannelBK. My name is Brian. Another classic album review coming in hot. Taking Back Sunday, Louder Now. Taking Back Sunday is a emo, rock, alt-rock, pop-punk, all those genres band from Long Island, New York. This is their third studio album, which came out in 2006. And it is following up 2002's Tell All Your Friends and 2004's Where You Want to Be, which these two albums were definitely the two albums that put them on the map in the sort of Warped Tour area of like pop punk and emo. Them becoming huge in that scene was with great songs like Cute Without the E and A Decade Under the Influence, which saw their rise to popularity get bigger and bigger, and then they signed to Warner Brothers for this very record, Louder Now. And they are definitely one of the bigger, more prominent groups in that scene, one of the more popular ones and one of the more influential ones as well. Now, what's funny is even like right before reviewing this, I came to a conclusion with this group that reminded me of another band that I did a classic album review of, My Chemical Romance, where these are two bands that came out about the same time. Their third albums both came out this very year. This one came out 6 months before The Black Parade. And they were both inhabiting that kind of emo rock style, where their first two albums were more fast-paced, in your face, grungier, like, you know, more hard-hitting. Again, the emo, the wailings of emo lyrics and getting all the sad kids all up and singing along. And then their third albums, which, look, Louder Now is not obviously this crazy concept album like The Black Parade is, but their third albums, they sort of, again, like I always am talking about classic albums, they took what they were so known for, brought it with some new sounds and to a bigger audience, and, you know, changed some stuff up a little bit. And I think they're both huge successes. I know this is something that when this album came out probably was something a lot of people were nervous about, because when, you know, you take a band like that and you throw them in kind of the main spotlight, maybe their product gets diluted. And I think this album is still fantastic and still one of the high watermarks of this genre at the time, and I'm so excited to talk about it. And in my opinion, I think just with the way the group sounds and Adam singing on here and his lyrics, seeing that these two albums came out in the same year was just really intriguing to me, because I think these are two of the more important albums in that genre of stuff that we all know, like All American Rejects or Yellow Card. What's It Feel Like to Be a Ghost is a great way to sort of intro the newish sounds. It takes things a little bit slower. I love kind of that very just grimy, plucky guitar at the beginning, dun, dun, da, 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 and the way the drums come in. Again, I love the way that Adam is singing on this track. It's a nice kind of way to get us into the album, because it's not necessarily anything that smacks you in the face, but I think, again, with the lyrics, there's a lot of like drug parallels within the lyrics. This album's very much Adam kind of talking about all of his mishaps and all of his mistakes, and it becomes very prevalent when you're listening to it. Again, all the topics that you would expect from an album like this, but it, again, is just a very solid way to intro the album, because, again, I think a lot of what this song does kind of parallels the rest of the album with kind of the backing vocals, and, again, the way that the instrumentation is punchy but not clean. Like, it definitely has a very, like, grungy aesthetic to it, but it just, again, it does sound louder. It sounds more in your face, and it's really great. Liar, It Takes One to Know One is easily one of my favorite songs on this album. I love the and then the way the drums come in. Adam is sliding on the instrumentation on here. I think the drums are fantastic. I think the pre-chorus is awesome. I love that line that he says about, you know, I'm an addict for dramatics. I confuse those two for love. Bars, so good. And then I think the chorus is great. I love the way that it's sort of looking at how he views himself, a liar, and, you know, it takes one to know one. He knows when he sees a liar, when he sees one, and kind of calling himself on that. I want to read the opening to this song, because I think the opening to this song is incredible. All our secrets, they are tailored trouble, draped loose now around your hips. Your spotless instincts are valid. We coexist. We've got 26 days to work with. We've got 26 days to work with. we'll see what all gets done. I think that is some of the best songwriting that I've heard from the band. MakeDamnSure is the big single from this album. It's their biggest single and biggest song that probably anyone on the planet knows for them. I was always scared of this song growing up. Like, not scared, because it's not like the most scary thing to listen to. But honestly, listening to it now, it's still kind of creepy. I think the way that it's that intro, the doom 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 boom boom boom, like, and then the way he's just singing, and the music video I think did a lot for that back in the day. It's an emo anthem, and it's still fantastic. Up Against Blackout is a great song. Again, I love the way that Adam leads into the song, the dun 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 dun, and then the cutback from it. Face it, this is what we're up against. Again, Adam sounds fantastic on it. I love the imagery of feeling like, you know, coming at a crossroads in a relationship. That's what I'm kind of getting at here, you know, knowing all the problems that are going on and knowing that, you know, you still have a lot to overcome to make things work, or knowing of the things that are going on and having to move forward from that. It's again, it's a very fantastic song. And I love the way that with the verses, there are other songs on here where like the verses have that kind of quietness to it, and then the choruses are big. It doesn't come across as like obnoxious or corny or anything. I think this song is a good example of that, because I think the melodrama of the verses works, and then again the chorus works well because I don't think it's overdone and the vocals are good. My Blue Heaven is a huge ballad about regret, the big ballad on the album. I love, again, the way the twinkling guitar kind of opens the song. It's one of the better written songs on here. Not to say there's like bad writing on this album, but I think in terms of that, like, the lyrics hitting really well done, and I think the structure of this song is one of the more unique songs on the entire album. And again, this sounds like the band maturing, taking, again, those themes that they've talked about before and bringing it into a more mature light, and I think it's done very well. 2020 Surgery kind of sounds like one of these typical songs that you hear about, you know, money not buying you happiness. I love the way Adam's singing the chorus. I don't know what it is about it. The 2020 Surgery. Like, it's just, again, like, I think he knows when to ham it up. Not ham it up, I guess, just to be dramatic and melodramatic and kind of bring that out in the song. And again, lyrically speaking, that's kind of what I'm getting at vibe-wise, where, again, it's that idea of, you know, buying the more, you know, the perfect point of view, as the chorus says. And I think it's, again, I think it's done in a tasteful way. Spin is intense. This song it's crazy. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the song on the end of the album. I will say this album does a good job, like, kind of starting here, it'll go here, it'll come back here, it'll maybe go here, it'll come here. Like, it feels like there's not like two back-to-back songs that are crazy. Like, it definitely has this kind of middle-of-the-road feel. It'll go crazy, it'll get a little softer, and again, I think the flow of the album's really great too. And again, Spin, the way the backing vocals are going, oh, this is where the party ends. Like, again, it's just, it's insane, and I love the way the guitars and the drums are playing with each other too. It sounds awesome. Divine Intervention is one of the more vulnerable spots on the album. It's the acoustic song on it. There's a little bit light instrumentation on it that kind of adds some flavor to it that I like. Adam's vocals, I think, maybe to some, aren't necessarily 100% top. I think that works for the song and the subject matter on here. Again, it's a very open song. I think Adam's vocals sound great on these records, and with this song in particular, I think kind of I think the little nuances of the broken vocals makes it great, because I do think he's a great vocalist, and I feel like on this song, to kind of him be so bold to let that kind of come out, again, it fits the song, and it's kind of one of those, like, salute moments, because it really works. Miami is probably, and I don't want to say oddest, but it definitely feels like the oddest song on the album. I remember when I did Third Eye Blind, there were definitely songs in that second half of the album where there was, the band was kind of going for very different sounds, and this has kind of like a glittery glam rock style vibe. Like there's like it sounds like there's like synths on the hook, and then again the and the Miami. Like it feels very dreamlike. It's definitely not like a bad track or anything. It may be one of the lesser tracks for me on the album just because of the oddness of it, but I do commend it for that because I don't think it's just odd to be odd. I think it has a good vibe. I think it's a good placement on the album, and it still sounds good. It feels like, again, them kind of treading that new territory with what they want to do with their sound, and it definitely works. Error Operator, second to last song on the album, which was written for the Activision Fantastic Four video game. And what's so funny, now I know the song's different on the game when I was looking into it, and it's not like obviously the same. But when you listen to these lyrics and, you know, there's been an accident, we can't go back, it really does sound like the origins of the Fantastic Four, and it's kind of odd. Like, it works. Like, it definitely doesn't stand out on the album. Like, I do think if you just listen to the album, you'd be like, okay, this works, cool. I think it's a cool rock jam. I really like it, again. But when you know that, you kind of sit back and go, oh yeah, I could see it. I could see it. Now, again, there could clearly be things that Adam in his life, like there was something that he went through, or maybe metaphorically there's meaning to that. I'm not saying they just put it on here for that, you know, reason, but you know, at the time, them getting bigger and whatnot, I could see this being a song that is kind of one of the odd ones out, especially when you listen to the lyrics. I still think the lyrics are good, but again, I think when you know that information, you can maybe think like it doesn't sound as unique as the rest of it, but I still think it's a great song because I think it's a great way to set the stage for the final song, I'll Let You Live, which kind of goes back to MakeDamnSure, where it's sludgy and slow, and the chorus is very blunt and in your face, and with, again, the topics of it, like the imagery that Adam is using, it's pretty intense. Like it definitely sits with you in a way where I think this being the last song on the album really does put a stamp on it with the impact that it makes. This album, again, is fantastic, and it's a really big shining spot of that era. Who knows, maybe I'll cover more from that era. I probably will. But for now, again, I think this album to me is like one of the pinnacles of that music. I think it still has what Taking Back Sunday does very well, with some new stuff as well. And to be fair, like, I think, to be honest too, Taking Back Sunday was never one of the bands that I was gravitating towards. And I think a lot of bands at that time, I wasn't necessarily into that earlier stuff because I think I was too young to really have that feeling of, hell yeah, this shit is dope. But I liked a lot of the later stuff because then that was when they were doing stuff like this. Again, back to the Black Parade stuff. And for this to kind of be that next step for them, I think is fantastic. And it still stands to me as one of the heights of their discography. And again, this album just has so many moments that stick out to me and are in my head and I remember. And it's a dope album. It's a classic album to me. And, you know, if you haven't listened to it, you should listen to it. So if you haven't, go listen. Leave your comments below of what you feel, favorite songs, all that, like, comments, subscribe. Check out all of my other classic album reviews. And my plan will be to have one out before the end of this month. Hopefully I get to that. I promise. I love you all. But thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all for tuning in to ChannelBK. Peace out, everyone.